Okay, McKenzie Trail Walk, July, I think 16th. It's a Friday. Feels like a 16th. Could be the 17th. But it's dry here. We just got through a record hot spell as far as number of 100-degree days and peak in Spokane, Washington. I think we got to 109 degrees officially. At least that's the number we're using at work. And I don't know how many 100-degree days, but too many. It's probably a nice way to say it. So, you've seen this trail in the spring, over the winter, out with my master. Hey, Coco. 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 What you doing? Out with the dog. With the hot weather, usually I forego getting out. Like 95 degrees is kind of my cutoff. I go out and go paddleboard or go get out, but I'll leave the dog at home because I don't really feel comfortable with her in the car, and then also pavement and rocks and just the heat. She's got a couple years on her, but I've done that ever since she was a pup, really. There's a time for dogs and there's time to give dogs a break. So we're down to, I think, 93 today. 92 was the peak, but it's high 80s when I had left the house, so comparatively cooler. So haven't done an update in July. I've got a couple of them to put up. Some camping ones that are pretty nice. An oil change on my XT. I need to get some on paper. Seems like I've got one other thing to do, but regardless, felt kind of guilty, so doing a quick little snapshot. Just for me as I'm walking down the trail here, dry. I'm surprised we don't have more fires up here. There's a lot of fires. There's a monster fire in Oregon, I think 200,000+ acres at the moment. And then some really big fires south Lewis and Clarkston area, near Ean, the Oregon, Idaho, Washington border, little corner there. I think 80,000 is the biggest one of those, and then one like a 45,000 acres, and then the other one's kind of like, I'll say 15, maybe 20,000 acres, but last time I looked, pretty raging fires. It's just as dry up here. We just haven't had that combination of storms. We haven't had it been too windy, and then atypical of a hot spell like this. Didn't cool down that fast afterwards. Typically we get hot here in Spokane. I'd say 98 and above, 100 degrees. A lot of times it'll cool down afterwards, which causes wind and lightning, which is a firestorm starter big time. But these have been hot, steady, slow changes. So this is the first real cool day, but this isn't cool for Spokane. Cool for Spokane in the summertime is 84 degrees, which makes it awesome. Oh, yeah, so McKenzie Trail, so I'm walking by, takes you from Trailhead a mile and a half down to the lake, which we're looking at now, then loops back on a gravel road back. So a nice trail coming down, which we're filming now, and I rarely film the trip back because it's just a old logging road. It's not being used, so it's pretty green, but not near as nice as the trail through here. Tell you what, my dog's happy. This is like her third walk in a while. So everywhere she's going, she's like, woohoo, life is good. Let's see, anything else exciting? Nothing else too exciting. Our system did fine getting through the hot spell, which is good. In my opinion, we did really well. Nothing but a couple maintenance issues that bit us. System-wise, we're actually held up really well. We've been doing some that's a nice way to say that. We've been reinforcing where we need to reinforce. So we handled the good. I think it was 105 is a typical really hot summer, and we got to 109, which is about a 5, maybe 8% increase in overall load, and we managed that actually really well. Had a couple of big 230 kV outages that we managed just fine. They happen to be lucky as far as timing goes. They were over the evening hours, so we had some breathing room as far as load goes, but even if they were summer peak days, we would have been okay. But like everything, I think in life, you know, N-0, it's hard to say we have a problem when everything's working. Once you find out where your weak spots are at is when you take something out of service when you're pushing it hard. So, like I said, I think transmission-wise, we're in pretty good N-1 shape. Distribution-wise, it looks like we don't have as much capacity as we probably should have. And we'll work through that. Build a little bit more margin into our design and move forward and probably not have a problem ever again, to be honest. But it's part of the fun. Another peek down at the lake. I don't know if you can see that. Zoom in on it. This is looking south. I don't know if I ever actually captured this picture. That was my finger. But we're on the far north end of the lake. And then this is out towards the meadows at the south end of the lake. And then that reaches out towards the I-90 corridor. There really isn't a town south of here. Just Newman Lake Village, I guess would probably be called at best. But regardless, that's where that's heading. That's the way we're looking. Not a lot of boats on the lake. I was kind of surprised. It's hot still. A lot of them this morning on Liberty Lake, but when it warms up about 11 o'clock and the breeze starts picking up, most people bail and call it a day, I think. On weekdays, that is. Yeah, my favorite time to boat is, if you can, 7 in the morning till about 9 o'clock. That's just a sweet spot. Usually pretty smooth waters, even earlier if you can. But yeah, daybreak's awesome. But another story, another day. So walking down the trail, like I said, far north into Newman Lake in the background there. It's funny, I'm looking at the picture, it looks pretty darn green. And we are in a pretty green area, good green pastures. Problem is, everything at the ground level is dry as possible. So there's no moisture. So if something sparks up, anything down below that kind of green tree line, everything at the base is ready to burn. So if it picks up anywhere, pretty much as we're seeing by the fires, anywhere in the northwest, we've been just dry as I've seen maybe ever. But without question, dry. So there's just no moisture in the ground, and then all the underbrush browning and dry, and then anything down towards the ground is just ready to burn. So anywhere a fire touched off, if lightning came down or some idiot threw a cigarette out of their car, you know, whatever the ignition point was, it doesn't take anything to get a fire raging. And then bad part about this time of year, the heat of the fire generates its own wind, and then any fire that starts, almost impossible to stop. It generates the oxygen it needs to burn and lots of fuel. Wham bam, you're running helicopters and planes in to knock it down, slow it down, and I think it's just hope from there on out. I know, and I'll say that, shout out to all the firefighting friends. Talk about stretched thin. I mean, if you look at the fire map, USGS fire map, there isn't really a spot in all of the Northwest that doesn't have some kind of firestorm action. In fact, Spokane's getting off a little bit fortunate compared to other parts of the Northwest at the moment. But I know for a fact from different areas that they're pulling resources, planes, helicopters to put out fires in one area because they have bigger fires in another area to work on, which is not where you want to be if you're a firefighter, because on the ground, you can dozer lines and backfire, but you're limited in what you can do. And there is no end to the forest up here, it seems like. So once it starts, you're in places that haven't been traversed for decades, if not ever, and places that have no roads. So the only way to fight fires in those spots really is by air. And even to identify the fire, just too dangerous to be into those areas on foot or ATV. All right, well, working down the ridge line. I think I'll keep on going down to get to the water. Make this a little bit longer since it's been a while. I think I'm at the 9-minute mark. I usually try to target 10 minutes as the maximum. I like watching YouTube videos of, for me, my favorite length is about 5 to 10. Anytime I see a 12 to 15 or even really over 20 minutes, I'll watch for a bit, but I'm not watching the whole thing just based on time. So, goat trailing down the ridge line here. This is probably one of the steeper parts of the trail coming down this ridge. There's a couple up and downs up to here, which are really easy little hikes, but this little downhill stretch right here at the end before you get down to the lake level, there's a pretty, I hate to say long, as far as trail goes, it's a long stretch of downhill, but it's not steep enough you have to get low or worry about feet slipping out from under you. I know in the wintertime when it gets icy, I go pretty darn slow down that ramp. Different story there, downslope about 5 degrees will knock you on your behind if you step on the right slippery spot. So, like I said in previous videos, trail from the parking lot or the trailhead is behind me to the north. You walk down to this junction here is really kind of one of the core spots along the trail. Again, I'll just do a lap around this. Marked well, Turtle Rock, Peninsula Drive access is 0.9 miles up the hill, which is south. I just came from Bedrock Ridge, the West Newman Trailhead, 1.2 miles back. And then West Newman Trailhead, that's not the trail, that's taking the gravel road back. I'm kind of in the shadow there. It's 0.9 miles. So I'm gonna video a little longer. So once you get down to this flat, you're on that old logging road or access road. This is a little bay where Turtle Rock's at, so we're just looking out over it. If you pay attention down here, as you come down, you see deer out there quite often. And like I said, even though I call it a gravel road, this is the gravel road. It's enough to drive a vehicle down, but it used to be just a normal logging road or an access road. Grown over quite a bit since then. Still maintained well as far as they're not letting trees grow up through it, but it's got some grass on it, and it's actually kind of nice level walk. And I'll say if you want to see the area and you're really not in for a climb, if you want to call it that, a more level access down for trail, as you come in from the parking lot on the main trail down, it's just like what you're seeing here, a little bit more established road base, but grass on both sides, grass in the middle, forest on either side, but good visibility, pretty comfortable. I don't think I could say for hiking solo, I usually don't worry about it. I got some protection with me, obviously, four-legged beast up there, but I never really feel too concerned here because there's always 3 or 4 parked cars up in the parking lot, mostly just normal folks stretching their legs or fishing coming down here. So it's kind of nice because it's not crowded, but it's not empty. So there's a body around somewhere along the trail. So if you twisted an ankle and you need help, you could probably yell and wait it out, somebody come and get you. But again, we're on the west side of the lake. Turtle Rock's there in the center. There's a shed down here that was, I think, granted to the county as the property was turned over to the county. There's an inlet there. That's the very north end of the lake. That's where the water actually comes in for the most part. Mount Spokane's there to the left. And then there's a little inlet here as well that we saw when we came off that trail. The other trail makes a loop, the one that goes up Peninsula Drive. It goes through that wooded area just straight down the center there. That's a nice walk. If I'm coming down here and I want to make it a little shorter, I'll go down that trail. Since I haven't walked through here, we'll just walk straight up to the Turtle Rock. My dog is heading for the water. She's ready to do a cool down. But I know I can see really well from Turtle Rock. It makes a little bit of a vantage point, maybe 20 foot off of this flat level we're on, walking across now. There's a little trail that goes up. Got safety warning. Turtle Rock is pretty steep off the backside, so if you walk forward, you're going to drop that 20 feet. So I think it's a common sense thing, but it never hurts to say, hiker beware. Like I said, it's a little bit of a step down to the lower normal trail. There's the dog. Coco, did you get a bath? Yes. Happy dog. So we're going to go out to the point here on Turtle Rock. I'll pan around a little bit. So there's an inlet here at Turtle Rock. Waterway. Enough lily pads to keep any kind of frog happy. That's looking down the lake, which is north. In the far distance, you can't see it, but not sure. I think that's Cougar Gulch area, but the mountain is Cougar something. Going across the lake here. Now we're looking pretty much due east. Across the way where those houses are, a little bit to the right. That's where Newman Lake Road East, I think, something like that, goes through. Pan around to the very upper end of the lake. Obviously more lily pads. Then a pretty big valley that opens up, and then I think I've brought this up before. Actually, I'll try to zoom in and I can see Mount Spokane from here. So Mount Spokane is due really north from here. I had to look on a map to kind of double check. And I'm looking at it right there. So those radio towers, cell towers, microwave towers are dead center in the picture right there. That'd be the top of Mount Spokane. So you can't see it from Turtle Rock. I'm gonna zoom back out to give you a reference. So the Mount Spokane dead center in the picture. I'm gonna pan across the lake. It's pretty. Glad I took a trip down. So thanks for listening. Greater Spokane signing off for the day. Well, everybody, I hope you have a great summer. Thanks. Bye.